that's the vital tonic that we all must drink if we want to step into our full power. And for those of us that are warriors of remembrance, we know that. And so even though it's going to feel that vast array of excruciating pain, it is all 10 million times worth what you're going to feel when you walk through it. And we all know you're powerful enough to walk through it. And we all know that there's plenty of support for those real down days that's available right now.
Come along, rise and shine. Come along and rise and shine. Come on and shine. Come along and ride on a life walker journey. Life walker journey. Yeah. Come along and ride on a life walker journey. Yeah.
Well, welcome everyone to the Sunday Soul podcast. And I am absolutely over the moon and honored today to have as a very, very special guest, Scarlet Raven. She is a starseed, an alchemist, and a seer. She is an illuminator. She is a mentor, a spiritual mother. And I am just ecstatic to have her to discuss her journey and how she got to where she is now. And we're going to mother to mother talk a little bit about what's going on in the collective and where we see the state of the collective. So Scarlett, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I want to give you an opportunity to just kind of say hello and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am all those things, and I would say I have subtle energy abilities where I can see and hear and play in the subtle energy realm. So the unseen realms, the 99% of the space that's hovering around all of us, that's the world that I primarily dwell in. And because of that, I am able to offer different types of lenses and perspectives and different ways of obtaining more of the light that's existing all around us to assist me and the collective in remembering our full power. So my soul's strongest mission is I want to remember myself fully, and I want that ripple to splash into everyone else's face as well.
That is absolutely beautiful. You know, this remembering theme, we've been hearing it and seeing it, and people have been talking about it for at least the last 5 years that I've been aware. Coming out of Christianity, I probably was in a little bit of the dark for a while, but for at least the last 5 years, and very strongly over the last couple of years. And I feel like sometimes we don't really have a good grasp of what remembering means. And it can mean different things to different people. But when you talk about remembering, can you let us know what does that really entail for you? What does that mean to you?
What a cool question you just asked. What that means to me is that at our core, at our essence, at our most purest form, me, you, we are source, we are creator, we are the God of all that is. And that is the core heartbeat of all of us. That's what's vibrating inside of all of us. That's what we revel in. That's the love we feel between sisters and brothers and children and animals. And that's everything. That's literally everything. And throughout the course of the soul's evolution, specifically to this earth, hundreds of thousands of years, there has been contrasting forces that have come to the planet to, in a sense, manipulate the purity of what was, to create contrast so that beings like us could say, ouch, this hurts, I'd rather have that. And when you do that, I'd rather have that. The consciousness is expanding and unfolding. So the whole purpose to me of this soul existence is to constantly be expanding and unfolding. So the remembering aspect right now in application to what we're all going through as a collective, to me, is we are stripping away the layers of falsified perspectives that have been manipulating how we see our purest form. So tangible 3D examples would be marketing. When you go into a grocery store, I remember 15 years ago going to a grocery store with my mom. Every single magazine cover was a skinny, white, anorexic looking person. And they had no originality. They had no characteristics. It was just like this whitewashed stick frame. And then they used subliminal messaging and symbolism to get your subconscious mind, which a lot of people don't know about, to make you think that you're lacking if that's not what you look like. Mm-hmm. And then the person that's not aware of subconscious programming, they go up to it and all of a sudden they're vibrating, I'm less than. Well, mm-hmm. that is a layer of falsified perception. That's just one example. We could go into the school systems. We could go into the parental pods that we come in through. Mm-hmm. We could go into every layer of our society, but it's these falsified layers. So remembering means, oh my God, I remember. I am more than this. I am greater than this. I am illuminated. I have all my powers. You, we all have the power to shape light into form, just as Source, God, Goddess does. So the process of remembrance to me is stripping away all these falsified programs, all of these consciousness patterns that say I was hurt or traumatized at one point in time. It's a loop that's playing that literally is not existing anymore, but I have to cleanse my subconscious and conscious mind of these thought patterns that I've repeated myself. Mm-hmm. And so it's my work on myself. It's taking society's, mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I see it.
Mm-hmm. So it's tapping into your true self, which you mm-hmm. knew who you were when you were incarnated, when you were born. Mm-hmm. And then you go through the human existence, since we've chosen to we're a spiritual and energetic being having a human existence by choice. And you go through your entire life trying to and getting back to and unfolding and having this experience so that you can then return to mm-hmm. from whence you came, right? Your true form, your true self.
Yeah.
And everything that you described, right, really, if you just look at the Matrix and all of those other types of movies, it's what it is. It's just this construct. Mm-hmm. And we spend a good chunk of us are spending our existence doing that and just getting freed from that matrix. The other thing that I find interesting about what you said is one of the many things, by the way, is this concept then, and on your YouTube channel, I've seen this where you talk about this kind of 5D and 3D coexistence. I call it dual citizenship, residing in the 5D, but you're still having, your feet, boots on the ground with the 3D experience, but being able to see through these lenses. Mm-hmm. As a mother, as a spiritual mother, as a mentor, the lenses. Talk about that lens. Talk about the lenses and how foggy our lenses have been and what you're doing to help the collective focus.
So lenses are a huge part of what I share and teach. And to me, it's the foundation for everything. That while flexing the muscle of focus. A lot of our technology that's come in, the collective has been trained to think that this is a technological advancement. However, from the soul's perspective, it is a de-evolution technology device. And when you are constantly doing apps and you're exposing yourself to these different frequencies, you're lowering your vibration. But the most tragic thing to me is that humans are losing their ability to focus. It's going to about 2 to 3 second focus time span because that's what apps are there to do. That's their programming. That's what they're for. They're for a flash of serotonin and then they leave you depleted. So to me, it's about the lens and then it's about the focus behind the lens. And we all, including myself, have to flex this muscle on the daily, on the moment to moment. So what I teach is that watch the stories you're telling yourself, watch what you're saying in your head. Everything you say is going to become a belief if you repeat it, which means that you have the power. You have the absolute power to rewrite your past, to rewrite your future, to rewrite your present, to imagine and create what you want now. And the pushback that I get from people is, oh, but look, like, are you just going to ignore the drama and the trauma of what's going on in the world? Are you just going to ignore what's going on here in politics? And I'm just saying to them, I am fully aware of what's going on in 3D. I have been fully aware of what's going on in 3D. And that's the core of my motivation for what I'm sharing. And what I'm sharing is people need to consciously unplug from what is going on, from the drama, from the trauma. Any social media account that's showing you contrast, division, oh, the Republicans are better than the Democrats. No, the Democrats are better than anything that is showing you contrasting division is a 3-dimensional vibrational resonance. It doesn't matter the subject. It's all energy to me. No one's right. No one's wrong. Everyone's having a soul experience. But if you entrain your vibrational focus on a 3-dimensional energy, it's going to be contrast. It's going to be drama. It's going to be disconnection. And that's the lens I'm sharing about 5D. 5D means that you have to flex your focus muscle. You have to train yourself to focus on the world you want to create, which means I want to feel joy and bliss today. Create that. Focus on anything that's going to amplify that. Consciously ignore all 3D. And I think that there's a gap period for people where they are in 3D and it's confusing for them. They're like, oh, am I just like, how am I going to ignore this reality? Well, you have to train yourself to ignore what is, because what you can see with your eyes is already in the past. It's already done. It's been manifested. So that means you're regurgitating what has been. And that's what you think is living. And it's not. What's living is stepping into your creator suit, looking at what has been and say, I'm going to expand my consciousness and I'm going to create something different. And to create that something different, you must focus on the felt creation that you want to bring in until it has arrived. So that's a lot of imagining. That's a lot of mind play. I myself, I'm very, very good at this, but I myself, like, someone will text me something. They'll be like, oh my God, did you hear about this in Oklahoma? And I'll look at it for a second and it'll be so much fear porn. And for a split second, I'll feel my vibrations start doing this, and I'll feel anxiety. I'll feel my stomach drop, and I'm like, oh, no to 3D. And I turn it off and I breathe. I might do holotropic breath and and I'll clear it out. And then I'll refocus on my 5-dimensional reality. It takes work. It is not blissful. It's sweat. It's working out in your body. It's a challenge right now because 2 worlds are very alive, and we have been saturated in 3D unconsciously for our entire existence. Now our opportunity to consciously surrender ourselves to where, we were born to be. It actually takes work right now for me. I don't know about other people, but
yeah, and I agree that yes, it does take a great deal of work. Are you finding that in this, because to me this is the 911 call, right? Is that we need to detach ourselves from the polarity and the duality. That is a Hermetic principle. Everything within this 3rd-dimensional realm, and again, as it is above, so it is below, as below, so it is above. There is a polarity and a duality that must exist. You have the choice, though, of consistently living on one edge or another edge, or simply seeing it for the duality, seeing it for whatever this conglomerate that it is, and not assigning an energy or an emotion to it when you get presented to it. So the thing that happened just recently at the recording, we're recording this on April 16th. So what happened in Oklahoma? Initially, it was one thing. And when I was told about it, I said, it's very sad. We need to wait for the rest of the information. I'm not going to assign or put energy into this yet, because repeatedly what happens is then the unfolding of the illusion begins. Because no illusion right now in the current energetic state where we're at in our evolutionary process as a collective can stand for very long. The veil is way too thin. And so learning to live in 5D and learning to focus up here, as you say, and I love that the muscle focus, that's great, because it really is exercising your muscle. It really is exercising your third eye, exercising your crown, your soul star chakra, and so on, exercising all of that to hear, and then exercising your third dimensional brain to release serotonin and release DMT and release take control of the third dimensional body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagination and the need for us to, or the requirement, if we're going to complete this evolutionary process in a reasonable time frame, whatever that means. As far as the collective and the awakened souls, where do you see people that you get to interact with? Where do you see that state right now? And then further, I want you to talk a little bit about your Naked Star Seed Mystery School and how you got as a mentor and as a mother. What was the impetus to get you to do that, to open that up?
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So the first part of the question is about where do I see the collective right now in terms of that kind of like bridging over into 5D?
Yes. And yes. So let's take that part. Where the awakened souls, the ones that are newly awakened, they're going to be watching this and hearing and listening to this. What state are we at? I feel like we're at 911. Like,
yeah, we are. Yeah. So like, here's a beautiful vision I just got about what you shared. So basically think of someone holding a, what are those things called that Dennis the Menace had? It's like a thing and then you pull it back.
Slingshot.
A slingshot.
Yes.
So there's a slingshot and you're the being inside at the back of the slingshot and there's a rock, you're chained to a rock or you're taped to a rock or whatever. Okay. And the slingshot just got let go. So that's where I feel like we are, where there's been this pressure building up in the 3D to catalyze people out of the illusion, right? So the pressure is felt and the trajectory into the unknown is certainly felt. And so I feel like that's primarily where a lot of beings are.
Yeah.
Which is the most pure opportunity filled place that I feel like anyone could be. And I think the only reason why someone wouldn't associate how they feel with that ideology is because it's new. It's new, so it's unfamiliar, so it's unknown. So it comes with all those other emotions of that perceptual world. But I would like to reassure people that where they are at right now is the most abundantly opportunity-filled existence that you or anyone else has literally ever felt or experienced on this planet. So let's give an amen to the fact that we are free from the matrix. We are free from karmic pain and suffering. We are free from getting healings all the time. We are free from these repetitive conscious patterns that make us feel less than the empowered souls that we are.
And free from needing a savior. Can we just stop with the savior? Can we just stop? We don't. Yeah. No one's coming to save you. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's true. That would be like God or goddess, whatever you call source creator, looking in the mirror and saying, "Are you going to help me get out of this thing I just created?" No, that energy would never do that. That energy understands how everything is created. So if you don't like what you see, create something new. And is that simple at this point.
Yes.
The matrix and the pain and suffering is only living on in the consciousness of humans on the planet at this point. It is not being externally created. We are not being externally suppressed as we have been. So I think everything we're talking about was the catalyst for me to launch the Naked Star Seed Mystery School. And I had a vision about a year and a half ago. And I'll backstory just a second. 10 years before that, I was in a light warrior training school. It was actually a massage certification program, but that was his cover. And then you sign up for it. And it's basically like, he rips you apart and shows you your light. Wow. So we went through a series of initiations. And while I was there, it was in Crestone, Colorado, which is a very sacred spot on the planet. And this being showed up in my car. I was driving home from school and I looked over and there was a native being, white paint on his face, long black braided hair. And it was the first time my vision wasn't in my third eye. I was seeing it with my human 3D eyes. So my initial response was, holy shit. And I stopped the car and my chest was pounding.
Yeah.
And then I felt just a sense of like, almost like he was my husband. So I was like, oh, this is familiar. So the fear dropped away.
Right.
And I could feel him. He could, his energetic hand could put his hand on mine and I could feel a physical presence in my body. He joined me there and we had been married in a previous life. So we did spoon and nothing sexual. Had I known about tantrika practices, I probably would have started having illuminating sex with him, but I didn't know about that then. And he became a guide for me. And I would ask him questions and he would share his responses back. I associate him with the leader of this other star council, and he's kind of like a spokesperson for this other wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So about a year and a half ago, he came to me and he said, it's time. You need to start your mystery school. It's time. He showed me these tablets, which were these large stone tablets, and they had this writing that I physically couldn't read, but he said, I'm going to read you each tablet. Each tablet will be a teaching that you share with your students, and we'll just go through each tablet. Mm-hmm. And at the time, my relationship was on the rocks. I didn't want to stay in California, and I wanted to go to a state that felt more nurturing. Yeah. So I didn't have the bandwidth. About April 10th, this month, 2021. Now my house is sold. The relationship is over. I've gone through 6 months of healing from the transition of moving to a new state, recalibrating to a new altitude. It took me a while to get back to feeling like myself after the move. Yes. And it was like a lightning bolt hit me in my head and was like, you're starting it now then. And I was like, okay, I'm starting it now then. And I don't know how I got to Patreon, honestly. I can't remember. I know that one of the girls that I love to follow, JCK, I knew that she was on Patreon. And I was like, let's just find some JCK videos. And I saw her platform and I thought, this is fantastic. Because for $3 a month or $5 a month or $9 a month or $100, whatever is comfortable for that person, wherever they're at with their manifestation, they can afford to get all of these teachings, the support, the community, the Q&A every single month. Mm-hmm. So it was a total yes. So I launched the Naked Starseed. This week, I have just been explaining the stargates. Each template is going to create a ring of light. The people that are watching the videos will have access to this ring of light. It'll add higher vibrational resonance to cells, to DNA. So the first tablet will be read next week. And I think I'll be reading 1 to 2 tablets a week, or I think it's going to vary. It's going to vary with how whoever signs up and whoever's a part of the collective of the school, it'll be tailored. The channelings will be tailored to the student body. Sure. So I can't really foresee that part, but.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. And it is absolutely, what I'm loving about how Source is moving, how we are moving, is as technologically advanced as we have become, we are now moving back to the ancient.
Yes.
Because truly the ancients had a far better grasp on all of this, on the alchemy and this moving with Source and all of these things than we ever have. So anyway, so we're back, right, to the ancients. And I believe that's part of the remembering that we're doing, that we're remembering these aspects of ourselves as the ancient goddesses, the ancient gods, because we need it in this time period for the evolutionary process. Because if we didn't, we have to go back in order, everything, the begin is the ending, the end is the beginning, right? It's the beginning is the end is the beginning. It's all cyclical. This is all cycles. and we're praying that, and we want to evolve to the next level, but it all finishes where it started and then starts over again. I love the accessibility of the mystery school. I love the accessibility that you're putting forward with these teachings, and with your energy itself. I want to explore a little bit about the spiritual motherhood as well. And let me put it this way. Actually, I want to explore the rapid change that you just outlined. And I think using the slingshot metaphor is perfect. How was it for you? Or what words of encouragement can you give to those that are in that slingshot moment, and you're about to get launched into something and you're not sure exactly how to get there? Or that moment of fear when you're about to launch, maybe not total fear, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, what does it feel like, or what encouragement can you give those that are being catalyzed to do this now?
I would like to normalize that it's painful physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Chapters will end, friendships will end, deaths will occur, not physically like leaving body deaths, but different relationships that you have with yourself will feel like they're dying.
Yeah.
Parts of you that you thought you actually were and liked will die, and there'll be a mourning. There'll be a mourning of each ending, and that's normal. And I think just knowing that it's the possibility of it being extremely painful and disorienting is totally normal. And that's the vital tonic that we all must drink if we want to step into our full power. And for those of us that are warriors of remembrance, we know that. And so even though it's going to feel that vast array of excruciating pain, it is all 10 million times worth what you're going to feel when you walk through it. And we all know you're powerful enough to walk through it. And we all know that there's plenty of support for those real down days that's available right now. And it'll be like you've been sitting on the couch for a year watching movies, and then you wanted to start doing CrossFit training or something, and then you went into a 3-month CrossFit training course. It'll be like that. And you're going to be so stoked when that course is done. You're going to be so happy and vital and just illuminated. But let's just normalize the fact that spiritual awakening, it doesn't feel good. And I think people when I was first started doing my starseed coaching, I noticed a lot of my students were like, well, I practiced what you said, but I'm not getting it. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a journey. This is a journey. And I have a lot of like you, Amazon, like, you know what you did to the collective conscious? You made everyone think that they need to have what they want right now, and that's the best performance. And that has nothing to do with the spiritual journey. It's a time warp mental fuck on you. That's what it is. So I tell people that the longer things take, the juicier they are. And the slower I go, the more me I can be. So I encourage people to love the journey. If it's taking a really long time, you're going to get something massive out of it, because the law of the universe is about magnetic attraction. So as your desire grows and pumps through you, you're actually creating a very relatable response to that desire that's going to come into your existence. Without a doubt, 100% guaranteed, it's going to come into your existence. So the longer it takes, the juicier the prize you're going to get. So there's a lot of like mental perspective, like lenses that we were talking about before, that really serve you on this process. And the lens of everything that's happening in your existence, you created, and it's for your benefit. And you agreed to this while you were in soul form. So it's your job to figure out which mental lens perspective is going to allow that energy to serve you and not crush you. And that's on each individual. That's the mind training I encourage at the school. I wrote a book on it like 5 years ago, but I feel like mind training is a must.
Yes. And we'll put links to that book in the description. everywhere, or in the podcast as well. It's a podcast description, so people can go check that out, because I definitely want them to do that. But training your mind is as your 3D mind training is absolutely critical in order for you to manifest the world that you are creating in your 5th dimensional realm and higher. Because all imagination is your imagination, and your dreams are actually true. That's the true world, right?
Yes.
And the process of creation, I've started here on the channel to stop calling it manifestation, because that's the end result of creation.
You're right.
So we create in the ether, we alchemize through the principle of mentalism and vibration and the rest of the Hermetic principles, of course, but we alchemize. And then once we bring it into the 3rd dimension, mani meaning hand, then it's brought into our hand. That's the end.
That's the end. Yeah.
So, and we're so, instead of vibrating at that frequency and maintaining that vibration, and then, yes, enjoying the process of creation, those of us who've birthed earthly children know it takes a few months for it from start to finish, just a couple. And I can honestly say myself, I didn't enjoy my first 2 pregnancies. Matter of fact, I really didn't necessarily enjoy being pregnant per se. I know some people that love the whole process, and I wish I could, but I just didn't. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But there is a process, and you know the end result is coming. No matter what, right? You get pregnant, there's going to be an end result, everything working as it should. But you shouldn't focus so microscopically on, month 2, day 3.
Yeah.
Enjoy the entire journey and keep your eye on the prize, so to speak. I think the more we learn to keep our eye on the prize and not assign a time limit to the process, the more we get out of the process and the more we learn along the way. Yeah. That's my own, I don't know.
You just said something so wise to me. That was so wise, because the truth is a lot of us are trying to manifest things right now that are actually a 3-dimensional false perception of self. And we think that that's the best that we can have. And we so focus on, like what you said, why isn't the end product here? And what the universe is saying is, actually, honey, you don't want that. And I have something better for you. And I'm not going to give that, because what we want to feel is abundance. We want to feel love. We want to feel pleasure. We want to feel joy. It actually has nothing to do with that end result thing. And the universe will gently, or if we don't listen after a few nudges, harshly guide us to the true essence of what our soul wants to manifest, not a false perception 3D. And since I've been out here, I've been looking for land to do a retreat center or a mystery school in person.
Yeah.
And throughout this process, I thought I knew what I wanted 2 months ago. I had this vision. I was holding on to it. I knew what I wanted. Well, 3 days ago, I found out that I actually don't want that. I want something that has ag and actual farming on it. So I can't just buy a residential land property. It needs to be able to be tilled. That discovery just came to me. So had I gotten that end result, like I was saying, I know I need it sooner, I want it now, I need to find my house now and put my roots down now, the universe was like, not until you get this part, not until you wake up to this aspect. Yes. And how did they get me to wake up to the aspect? Was they brought me to different houses, and when I got there, I felt my body respond to this house that had 20 acres of tilled soil, and my body was like, Scarlett, you want to learn to farm, you want to be self-sustainable, you want to grow hay for your horses. I didn't know that.
Right.
And I am a very attuned, awakened being. I didn't know that.
Right.
So it's divinely guided, and I think what you said is the wisest thing we could remember.
Well, thank you. But Thank you, Source, for dropping that into my spirit. That is, to me, though, the status of the collective is the next biggest thing, right? We need to grasp is that we have to start operating from a fifth dimensional perspective in every area of our lives. So that fifth dimensional or higher, I say fifth dimension just because, but that perspective then is the why, the sole purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the what.
Yes.
It's the sole purpose. And the moment we can actually begin to walk in, this is my sole purpose, and then be open to the steps by which we achieve it, that's when we walk in this true creation. That's when we walk in true power. That's when we walk in true divinity, because it doesn't matter what you throw in front of me. That's where I'm going for this purpose. Doesn't matter anything else. Right?
It's true. Yeah, that's the journey. That's what I share about sinking into. And that's the practice for me is every day I wake up, I command that my cells fill with more light throughout the day. And I command that my experiences reflect that back to me. And then I go about my day, and any excitement or curiosity I feel, I follow it. And I never mentally question it. And to me, that's Source coming through saying, over here, I'm going to bring you closer to what you desire over here. And then every time I follow those impulses, I get more and more remembrance for myself. And also what I'm doing is I'm viscerally in my nervous system relaxing into the stream of Source that is flowing through my life. And that is how I distinguish where the different little trajectories are turning me and pointing me. It's those curiosities are like, you asked for that, here you go over there. And then I'm like, okay. And I go over there and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. I met this one person who taught me about this. And all of a sudden I'm connected to that person all of a sudden. And it's not logical. It's divinity.
It is.
It's grace.
It is at its finest and at its purest. What a beautiful time we've had. That is beautiful. To wake up every morning with that intent, just to purely see and feel through the lens of spirit, through the lens of your Source, through the lens of your own divinity, and flow in that energy. That is a beautiful, beautiful reminder. And that blessed me so much. Well, Scarlett, I appreciate all this time we've spent together today. I mean, this has been fabulous. A wonderful, wonderful discussion. If there's something you would like to leave with the collective, what would you say to these wonderful goddesses and gods that are going to be listening to us?
I would say that the new earth is here. There is no more disease. There's no more pain. There's no more suffering. All there is an opportunity to shape light. And that is what is here. And that is what is available. And that is where we are all inevitably going. No matter how much you resist it, you will end up in that realm. So either get carried by the stream or fight it, but it is here. And I just want to celebrate that it is here. I mean, we could say that wholeheartedly. It is here. So that's awesome.
It is in all its wonder and glory. Awesome. Well, Scarlett, I want also to let everybody know, can you let folks know where we can find you and where we can support you, your socials and all those great things. So where can we find you, dear?
If you want to check out the Mystery School, then it's on Patreon. And my Mystery School name is The Naked Starseed. So you'll be able to find me and sign up there. If you want to buy any of my starseed medicine, which is White Fox Medicine, that is whitefoxnectars.com. And I make a bunch of herbal tinctures. You'll also be able to find my books that I've written on there. So Follow the Medicine, Awakening Self-Empowerment is a mind training book. I suggest if you don't feel drawn to mind, find some mind training book with Joe Dispenza or Tony Robbins or someone that has mastered training their mind. read about it and practice it. It'll be really, really helpful for everything. And then I think that's pretty much it. Oh, Instagram is the social media that we have. So White Fox Medicine and Naked Starseed. Those are our 2 social media handles.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
Thank
very
you,
much
Lisa.
appreciate you spending this time. I would love to have you back again sometime very soon. I think there's a lot more we can unpack with the growth and the becoming accustomed to living, breathing, and being in New Earth. And I just so appreciate you and everything that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. Really appreciate you.
All right, awesome. Well, guys, thanks again for being here with us today for the Sunday Soul podcast. And until the next time that we meet again, love, light, abundance be with you always. I love you all so much. Namaste. Bye-bye.